Welcome back to the CNR recap. I'm Griffin Aldrich. Alongside of me, I got Daniel, Miguel, and your Boston Celtics have defeated the Los Angeles Lakers with a final score of 105 to 126. Daniel, I think we got to start the chant really quick. BLA, BLA, because the Boston Celtics just had a phenomenal game against the Los Angeles Lakers. Before we get into it, though, do have to say two injuries out, three actually out for the Lakers. Luka Doncic with, I believe his wife is pregnant and giving birth, so he's back home for that. Marcus Smart out and LeBron James, but yet again, our head player is out, Jason Tatum, and we still did it all tonight. So, what a win for the Boston Celtics. Daniel, do you have any initial thoughts after this huge win by the Boston Celtics?
I got two words for you. Jordan Walsh. That's all I'm gonna say.
I agree. And I think it's going to be tough when we really go into Celtics Nation Rise MVP because I don't know who to give it to, and this is going to be an issue, but we'll get into it soon. But I have to say, Daniel, here are my initial thoughts after this big game is the Boston Celtics are a team that's beating good teams, and they just beat the crap out of the Wizards last night. I mean, we really need to start the talk about, can the Celtics be a serious playoff threat? Because they're doing damage and teams aren't taking this Celtics team seriously, and the Celtics are going in and they're showing their true colors, and they're showing that they're the team from a while ago, and they're still the team to be reckoned with. And it's just incredible what they've been doing. And tonight just was phenomenal. And I have to say again, the Celtics, let's see, winning the rebound battle again. And that's what's been impressive. 35 rebounds from the Lakers, 39 rebounds from the Celtics. Lakers and Celtics both tied with 14 turnovers, but being able to limit mistakes and then get rebounds. And I want to have to say, too, Nemias Queta, who we'll get into, but had 10 points, 6 rebounds, and he looks like a lob threat out there. And he's the center I've always hoped of because I've said time after time, he reminds me of the Time Lord, Robert Williams. But
Oh, I haven't heard that name in so long,
does
man.
he not, though?
It's yeah, he does. He does. He really does.
He's
Yeah, it
going.
reminds me a lot of that 2021, 2022 team, man. Yeah, a lot of flashbacks to that team. But yeah, like you said, really good game from the Celtics. Again, we out rebounded them. And also beat them on assists by double. We had double the amount of assists that they had. So yeah, really good game from the guys and a really good win. They were missing three of their starters, but we managed to get the job done.
Yeah, you said it. I mean, the Lakers only had 15 assists and the Celtics had 31. So a little more than even have twice amount and one. But I was just very impressed from the Celtics. I mean, shooting wise, too, shot 46 for 85, and the Lakers shot 33 for 77. So the Lakers had poor shooting tonight, but the Celtics just dominated them from the beginning of the game, Daniel. And I'm gonna pull this up for you. Here's the differentials. And Daniel, if you wanted to give us the quarters, because this was a Celtics blowout win. You kind of see them slip that lead a little bit in the third quarter, but the Boston Celtics blew out the Lakers. And give us quarters. They're there for everyone, but you got to show how much of a blowout win this Celtics game was.
Yeah, that first quarter was massive for us. We managed to get that really comfortable lead. With Brown taking off in that first quarter and White as well, both of them having 9 points in that first quarter. And then in the second quarter, we have a much closer game, unfortunately, but we still ended up winning that quarter 30 points to 29. In the third quarter is when we lost that battle with the Lakers scoring 36 points to our 28. And then to close the game in the fourth quarter, the Celtics had 29 points and the Lakers had uh 23. But yeah, like you said, Griffin, a really comfortable game. Uh, throughout all the quarters. Not really that third one, but other than that, really comfortable game for everyone. And I'd say not that many bad things to say about this team and the way we played today.
Yeah, and the Boston Celtics' highest lead in the game was 29, but overall, just what a incredible game. And the team chemistry is just on another level. And we just gave Jordan Walsh a CNR MVP last night over that win against the Wizards. But there are so many guys that are just standout guys. And we have to start the question, what is Walsh going to become? Because right now, it's looking like he is a perfect rotation piece when Jason Tatum comes back. And that's what I talked about a little bit last night too. But it's also the fact that, like, this is a guy that we talked strongly about come preseason, where we talked strongly about Daniel letting him go. And this is a guy that we didn't see a lot of potential and we were getting frustrated. I mean, he got thrown out of a summer league game and he was just a menace. So and he wasn't doing good in summer league. So it looked like a guy that we kind of shut the door open, but we slammed that door back open because Walsh is a threat. And the next question I want to ask too about Anthony Simons, only playing 16 minutes tonight, had 8 points, shot 50%. I think, one thing about Simons is I would like to give him more minutes, give him more time, because I think this is a player too who could have had a great night tonight. He had a 23 plus minus and shot 2 for 4, and I thought he was pretty efficient tonight. So I think that's a guy who I think the Celtics need to have a longer leash on and give him the more time that he deserves. But do you have any final thoughts about that before we go into player stats?
Yeah, I would like to see him. You're right. I would like to see him get the same amount of minutes he got last night. 25 minutes. I'm sure we talked about this yesterday. In last night's recap, but 25 minutes, 16 points. That's the role I see him in. He didn't do bad today, with those 8 points. But yeah, I agree with you. I'd like to see him get more minutes and a little bit more of a freedom to just do what he wants. I will say, um, because of how he's performed lately, I understand. But if we're gonna up those performances, he's gonna need more playtime to get those stats up. Because if he can, I think he can be a really good bench piece. Speaking of bench pieces, I'm really liking the switch from Hauser to the bench and then Walsh starting these past two games. I think that's been phenomenal for the team and phenomenal for both of those players because not only did Walsh have a good game, but Hauser had an okay game too. 24 minutes, 12 points, 50% from the field. They both hit 4 threes as well, which I didn't notice. I didn't realize. But yeah, really good rotation on the team. I like what Joe Mazzulla is doing and trust the process.
Yeah, I agree. And another player I want to shine light on too, Baylor Shireman, who we're pretty much knocking down the stats right now. But Baylor Shireman played 15 minutes, had 3 points, a rebound, 2 assists, 2 steals, and shot 50%. And it felt like, that 15 minutes felt like a lot longer. It felt like Joe Mazzulla was constantly going to Shireman. And that's great because he's getting experience. And I've loved Shireman's play as of recently. I think he feels comfortable and he's getting more comfortable and getting his feet wet with the Celtics, and that's important. And another guy I want to shine light on too is Josh Minot, who played 23 minutes, coming off the bench, kind of a sub, with Sam Hauser and Jordan Walsh in there, but had 6 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, a block, and shot 50%. But for the Lakers, I mean, Austin Reeves, he's been on a complete tear, and we've known this. In 33 minutes, had 36 points, 3 rebounds, 8 assists, and shot 50%. Gabe Vincent, who is always a Celtics killer, but not really tonight, tried to kill Namias Keita. Uh, he went up and Keita fell on him. But
He also did have a season high, which is unfortunate, but yeah, he had a season high against us today. By the
so,
way,
so
if anyone cares.
always the Celtics killer, though. Like
Yeah,
I said, 18 points, a rebound, an assist, and shot 50%. And then Smith Jr. in 24 minutes had 13 points, 2 rebounds, 2 steals, a block, and shot 50. Hashimura had 13 points, 8 and had 6 points and 10 rebounds. Laravia had 6 points. Hayes had 3. Connect had 5. I like to see Drew Timmy in there. I saw Drew Timmy play in the G League, and he is a guy who had 2 rebounds, 3 assists, only played 7 minutes. Bronny James had 5 points in 7 minutes. So some guys in there, but for the Celtics, because that's what you guys are here for. Boston Celtics. I liked Ugo today. It doesn't look like a lot on the stat sheet, but played 8 minutes, had 4 points, didn't play till the second half. Two rebounds and shot 100%. But I liked him. Amari played 2 minutes, no stats. Tillman played 3 minutes, had 2 points. Luca Garza played 2 minutes. Nothing really from him. But we already talked about Simons and Shireman, and Minot. But Neemias Queta, I already mentioned him earlier. In 26 minutes, had 10 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, shot 62.5%. And again, he's looking like the center that we want. He looks like a better backup center, but you can't play your cards right now. He's the option you have. And I love what Queta is doing. Do you have any thoughts on Queta? Because he's been phenomenal, Daniel.
Yeah, he has. And we were talking about him after that 19 and 18 performance, almost to 2020 there, and we were talking about wanting to see more from him. And I think this is him kind of proving to us why he's our starting center. Last game as well, last night, played really good, and he continued that performance into today, and he also played good. Speaking of centers, I really don't know. I don't know if we've talked about this on the channel before, but I just noticed a discrepancy, and like not really a discrepancy, but do you know what's going on with Chris Boucher and why he's not getting minutes as a maybe a backup center or something?
So
I just find that weird.
we've been talking about this a lot, Daniel. He right now another DNP, and it makes me feel bad when I just see him on the bench,
Yeah, definitely.
because we came to the verdict that that's a guy who we think hasn't really worked out for Boston, and David's take is that he believes that's going to be a guy that we're just going to buy out and let the buyout market kind of get him, because he's not the guy that we expected to be. And I think he's 32 years old, I found. And, I would prefer, like, if we're not good, like, this guy could go to another team, like David said, that could be a contributor or somewhere where he get minutes. But that's a guy that I think has potential, but doesn't really fit what the Celtics are doing. So I think we should buy him out and then maybe trust that spot with a Ron Harper Jr., or even giving Amari Williams a full contract and then picking up another two-way guy. Like, I'm gonna throw this picture up because it's right here, but like I took this picture, maybe even like who the main Celtics just picked up in Keon Johnson. I mean, we give Keon Johnson that two-way, put Mari on a standard deal. I mean, we need more help with a big man spot, so not a
Yeah,
bad piece
definitely.
there.
But yeah, back to Keita, amazing player, really good game today, and I'd like to see what else he has up his sleeve.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And now going after Pritchard, who in 30 minutes had 15 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal, and shot 46.2. He was lights out from three tonight. And I'm just seeing him play and develop. It makes me happy that he's the starter, because he's just played phenomenal. And now the three mentions for Celtics Nation Rise MVP. Number one, Derek White in 30 minutes had 19 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, a block, and shot 50%, and had 3 turnovers. Brown had three, too, and Walsh had one. So that's what your turnover descriptions. Well, I couldn't say that word, Daniel.
Discrepancy, I got you.
You got me today. And then next up, Jordan Walsh, who played 26 minutes, had 17 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 blocks, and shot 85.7% from the field goal. And then last but not least, Jaylen Brown, who in 34 minutes had 30 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, 1 steal, and shot 45.5% from the field goal. Daniel, I hate to say it, but I'm going to go first. And I hate to say it because I so badly want to give this to Jordan Walsh, but I'm giving your Celtics Nation Rise MVP to Jaylen Brown. I think tonight he had his fingerprints written all over this game. Even in the third quarter, when it looked like the Lakers were coming back slightly, Jaylen Brown put a stop to it. And, I really want to give it to Walsh because just he was more efficient tonight, but and he's growing into a player and he'll get the flowers he deserved. But I think without Jaylen Brown, the Celtics don't get this win. I feel like, Walsh did a lot and he is a huge contributor for this game. But without Jaylen Brown tonight in parts where you very much needed him, and he performed when you needed him most, I don't think the Celtics get the win. But moment of truth, who are we giving the Celtics Nation Rise MVP to, or are we going to a poll on Instagram?
I think poll. I think we should do a poll. But yeah, I agree with you.
We could call my brother. Let's see if he'll answer after. But who do you got, Daniel?
I agree with you. As much as I'd like to give it to Walsh for that back-to-back performance, it has to be Brown. After that triple double against Cleveland, I'm seeing a lot more like almost triple doubles from him. Like tonight's game, 38 and 8. He reminds me a lot of Tatum, like back in the day when he'd edge us for those triple doubles and have like 9 assists and 10 boards or something like that. Like he'd be really close to a triple double, and that's what we're seeing from Brown recently, which signals that there's going to be a shift. There's going to be a shift in the way he's going to play, and he's looking to be more of a distributor, along with being the primary scorer of the team. So because of that and tonight's performance, it has to be Brown.
I love that you said that, because I was like, either we're gonna have to go to a poll on Instagram, call my brother, because I thought you were going Walsh, but
nah, I'm going Brown. Yeah, definitely Brown.
I think Walsh deserves a player runner up though, because
definitely,
like he didn't have as many points as Jaylen Brown, but just overall, they call him the garbage man for a reason. I mean, he's doing the dirty work, like they mentioned on the broadcast tonight, but this is a player that's stepping up in a big way for the Boston Celtics. And I'm proud of him. I am so proud of what Walsh has become. And I said this to my girlfriend too while we were watching the game. I was like, this is a guy who I saw grow in Maine, and now he's performing up with the NBA. And it's just impressive that I've seen him grow from that player. And I always saw something in Jordan Walsh. So, I didn't have the highest hopes that he would be this player, but I thought he would be a little contributor, but he's really shot my expectations and really outperformed my thoughts on him. But he's incredible, Daniel. But after this big win, do you have any final? Jaylen Brown, 7th Celtics Nation Rise MVP. So gotta give him some credit. But he's off to a hot start, Daniel. But any final thoughts before we close this out?
Yeah, some stats for the guys that didn't know, or for the Celtics fans who don't know. 4th win in a row, 4-game win streak. Could go on to 5 against Raptors soon. But yeah, 4-game win streak, 8 wins in our last 10 games. This is a really good space, really good span of games for the Celtics. And I'm really excited to see what this streak can mean in the future, because if we keep playing like this, who knows where we'll end up, especially once Tatum ends up coming back, or who knows whether this run and possible runs in the future will decide whether Tatum comes back or not later in like March or whatever, whenever he does eventually end up coming back. But yeah, like you said, 12th 30-point game for Brown this season already, and he's been really good as a first option, and I'm really liking what he's done to step up in the absence of Tatum.
And Daniel, I know it's way too early to score standings watch, but I want to throw this out there. We're, as of right now, jumped from 6th place to 5th place, tied.
2 weeks ago, we were like 11th place, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, and we're tied right now with the Heat and the Magic, but one win and the Magic or the Heat get a loss, we're right there in 4th place. And if you beat the Raptors, you might be in that 3rd place. I don't know how that would work, but I believe you're at least tied right there. And I think if we beat them, we'll be in 3rd place. So that's just incredible. And you just beat a number 3 team in the West with the Lakers that are now 16-6. But again, I know there were some injuries, but we have injuries too. So
yeah, and
I
also
know it's too early to standings watch, but just throwing that out there. I just have to throw that out there.
Yeah, and also for our next few games, these are going to be tough and very deciding in our standings. We have the Raptors, who are a top team in the East, 2nd in the East right now. Third, sorry, third in the East after that loss. We have the Raptors, the Bucks, the Pistons, the Heat, and then the Raptors again. So
Uh,
uh,
t-
uh, uh,
oh,
that's a tough schedule. All I'm hoping for from this team for those 5 games is at least 3 wins. We can go for 5. Let's go for 5, obviously. But at
let's
least if we win at least 3 of those games, one of them being against the Pistons again, then I have a lot of hope for this team. Speaking of hope for this team, one last kind of happy um stat for the fans out there. We're currently third in points allowed per game, and we're also third in opponents' field goal percentage. So defensively, we're still a top team. Without
we
Tatum,
are.
it doesn't matter. We're still a very good team defensively, and that could lead us to much desired, much hoped for playoff run if the time comes. A little too early to tell, but defense wins games, and we're doing really good at that this season.
And offensively, we're not doing too shabby too. I
No, we're
mean,
not.
we have
Not at
those
all.
blowout wins, I believe, as well. So it's been a fun team to watch so far. And again, shut down the tanking talk. Shut down the tanking talk because we're right now in fourth place. So shut those takes down. Shut those takes down. But Daniel, any final thoughts before we close out this big game?
No, a really good win from the team. I hope to see the same energy from these guys at the next game as we did today. So yeah, come Sunday, and I hope these guys are well rested and ready to go again.
Well said, Daniel. But with that being said, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications to be notified every time we upload. Celtics beat the Lakers in a rivalry matchup with a final score of 105 to 126. Make sure to come back to watch this recap right after the Raptors game. So thank you guys so much again. We will see you guys with the next one. Peace, guys.